I'm giving you Atlanta, honey.
Girl! That tickles my pickle.
I'm 32 years old, but like, I'm just a little girl.
God would not want you to be living in misery. So that's
in Missouri? What's up, Jelly Beans? Welcome back to another episode of Jelly.
Hi.
How are you, dear?
I'm good. It's been a minute.
Yeah, how was Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was cute.
Was it giving?
It was giving thanks, per.
How's family?
Honestly, okay, so like, I have a love-hate relationship with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like just be really not wanting to go up to see them because my family is in New York, and I would be like, oh, like, let me just stay here. Like, I don't really want to go because of whatever reason, just shit in my head.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't go last year, but this year I was like, let me just go. Let me just enjoy it. Let me just see what the universe gives me and just react, you know? Just have no preconceptions. And I went and I actually had a good time. And it was actually nice to see my family again. Some of the people who maybe I didn't love were people who were not in attendance.
Oh, period. She lucked out.
Right. And it was fun, honestly. And it was good to catch up. And, you know, it's good to have good feelings about family.
Right. And now you came back and now all of a sudden you think you so New York.
Girl!
You Tiffany Haddish, you New York now?
I'm walking here.
Literally.
Right. Get into it, girl.
Well, we've been established you not New York.
Well, period.
You're giving countryside. You're giving West Virginia, country mama.
Girl, if I'm giving West Virginia, so are you.
Girl, don't lump me into that.
I'm really gonna lump her in.
I'm giving you Atlanta, honey.
Girl! Oh, so if I can't be New York and I'm literally born in New York, you never...
Girl, just because you're born in New York does not make you a New Yorker.
Just because you lived in Atlanta for college does not mean you're
I'm in the culture now.
Girl, no.
I'm black now.
Girl, no. Let's really cut that.
Let me stop.
Girl, she not invited to the cookout?
I'm really not.
Literally.
Not. Anyways, so I recently watched this movie called Saltburn. Have you heard of it?
No.
It has Jacob Elordi and Barry Keoghan. Do you know who those are?
I know Jacob Elordi.
Okay, Barry Keoghan, I really don't know what he's from either except for Eternals, which I didn't even watch.
I also don't know what that is.
But are you going to watch Saltburn?
No.
Because I kind of want to
I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to watch it.
So I didn't know what it was about going into it, and girl, I was gagged coming out of it.
Uh-huh.
So it is this, also spoiler alert for those of you that...
Yeah, spoilers, because y'all got mad last time that we talked about something without spoiler alert.
We gotta make it real clear spoilers.
Like, oh my lord.
So it's a psychosexual thriller.
Not psychosexual.
Literally. Which I wasn't aware of in the branding, because I thought it was going to be some, like, Call Me By Your Name, like, girly pop movie like that.
Oh, you thought it was going to be, like, a gay movie?
It is a gay movie.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
But I didn't realize how gay it was going to get. So, Barry Keoghan's character has this obsession with Jacob Elordi, right?
Okay.
And so that's why I was like, okay, this is just going to be, like, another Timothée Chalamet, like, trying to get with Armie Hammer kind of vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the obsession goes to a different level. And I'm going to tell you about 3 scenes that really stood out.
I'm scared.
So there's this one scene involving a bathtub where Jacob Elordi is, let's just say, pleasuring himself in the bathtub.
Do they show it?
Kind of, but it's not, like, very explicit.
Okay.
But, like, you know he's, like, doing it in the bathtub. And so he finishes in the bathtub, right?
Okay.
And so he leaves, and Barry Keoghan's character was watching him the whole time, like, behind the door.
Uh-huh.
And when Jacob Elordi leaves, he goes into the bathtub, and while the water is still draining into the drain, he gets up and close and slurps it.
Ew.
He slurps it up.
Oh, my God.
And they don't pan away. It shows it for, like, 10, 15 seconds. And he's, like, slurping it, girl.
Ew.
Girl.
He said, I'm getting this Oscar.
Girl. Cum soup, girl, honey.
Ew. Do they actually show, like...
I mean, they show him, like, licking the drain.
Okay, but there's, like, not, like, any goo.
No, but the water's kind of murky.
Okay.
And it's just really gross because it's really unhygienic in the first place.
Fully.
And so, at this point, we already know Barry Keoghan's character is kind of psycho.
Right.
Evidently. And then it keeps getting worse. So then Barry Keoghan's character, he's not completely gay. He, like, I guess he's fluid. So he also tries to hook up with Jacob Elordi's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so her sister is on her period.
Oh.
And she's like, I don't think I can do this because it's that time of the month. And he's like, that's okay, honey. I'm into the blood. And so it's very vampiric in the moment. And he gets all the blood all over. And then they start sharing the blood with each other, mouth to mouth.
No,
literally,
you're lying.
literally. And by the end, he'd be looking like Joker on his lips, girl.
Okay.
He really said, let me paint the town red.
Okay. Literally.
And then the final scene had me gagging even more because Jacob's character dies.
Oh.
So they have their funeral, whatever, and they're at his gravesite.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone left, and he's still there because they're like, okay, I'll let you mourn or whatever. And he's there, and then he like lays on the ground of his grave, and he's really sad. And then he begins to take off his clothes, and then he begins fucking the ground.
Oh.
And then it's implied that he finishes in the ground.
That's literally worse than what I thought you were going to say.
Literally, girl. I'm like, this man can't even rest in peace. Like, imagine dying and someone, like, nuts in your face.
That's horrible. I would have to come back and haunt them.
I'm like, how did this director come up with this?
Oh, literally. That's a great question.
It's also a female director.
Okay. She getting freaky deaky.
No, she real freaky deaky. I'm like, girl, how did this even come into your imagination? Like, I could never even think of this in a million years.
That is very, very interesting movie.
Like, my God, was it gaggy?
I'm shocked that Jacob Elordi agreed to be in that.
At least Jacob Elordi didn't have to do all the freaky deaky things.
You're right. He
was
was just eye candy.
Literally, girl. That's what I thought going into the movie. I was like, okay, Jacob Elordi, but he was definitely not the star of the show. Let's just say that.
All right.
But I mean, you should still watch it. It was pretty funny.
I would watch it. I would watch it for the shirtless parts from Jacob Elordi.
Right, which is only a few parts, unfortunately.
Okay.
Speaking of another movie, though.
Yes. So, Inside Out 2.
Mm-hmm.
Pixar is making a new one. Are you excited?
You know, of the Pixar sequels, this is the one that I am more excited for because
really?
It feels like there's a reason to continue because she's obviously aging.
Okay, that's fair.
So there's room for new emotions.
Did you like the first one?
I did. I really liked that.
Really? Okay.
You didn't like it?
For me, it was okay. I think that was probably the point where I was aging out of Pixar. So
we were like 16.
Right. So for me, I didn't love it. It was just okay. Very mediocre.
Interesting.
So I have low expectations if I'm going to be 100% honest for Inside Out 2.
I mean, at this point,
and
Disney
Pixar's right. Pixar and Disney's trajectory recently has been downhill slope. So I don't really know, but I guess they're introducing 2 new emotions.
No, it was more than 2.
It's more than 2?
Yeah.
Okay, the ones that I heard about was anxiety and depression.
Right, and they're going with some fancy term for depression. They're calling it ennui.
Oh?
Because I don't think Disney is trying to call it depression.
You're right.
And then the other ones was shame.
Oh.
And I think there's one more. Shame, anxiety, embarrassment, and it was another negative emotion. Like, I don't remember. Might have been embarrassment. I think that is shame, though. But anyways, so they're all negative emotions.
That's interesting, and I think that it could make for some funny moments, for sure. But I don't know, like, I just feel like at some point you're getting too many characters, per se.
Yeah. I have a theory that they're gonna like introduce love as the secret emotion to come out because everything is so negative right now.
Right.
And I don't think that's really sending a positive message to kids that all of your emotions are gonna be negative and cause you turmoil. I think they're gonna come out with like love or romance or something.
I see that, high-key, I see that. Especially since he's going into puberty, so she's probably
Literally.
gonna have a crush or something. Although was it Pixar or Disney that got dragged for making one of the characters have a crush in Turning Red?
Did they? Oh.
They got dragged for that.
Turning Red was definitely one of the more risque films they put out because she was like definitely crushing. She was getting, let's just say, horny
Oop!
over the guy. And I think parents really did not like that.
I've never seen that movie, but yeah, I remember
Bro, that movie is camp.
Is it?
It's really funny.
Okay.
But a lot of people hate it.
Yeah, a lot of people hated it.
But I think it's a hidden gem.
Well,
Well, what are some emotions you would add to Inside Out?
So, let me think. Okay, so she's going into puberty.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably something surrounding that. Like, maybe...
Like horniness? Lust?
Well, I don't know about lust, girl.
Imagine Pixar does that.
Girl, they shouldn't get shut down.
But at this point, they might as well go big or go home.
Well, they might get a rated R rating.
Girl, that'd be iconic. I would love to see an animated Disney rated R film.
That would be crazy.
I mean, they would not sell any tickets.
Girl, no.
But, like, I want it.
Well, maybe at this point, they're desperate enough to give it to you.
Right.
But, okay, maybe I would add... You said shame is in there.
I think so.
Okay, so embarrassment's a good one. Maybe also...
For you, memory loss.
Right, girl, literally. Like, have a chunk of the little airboard, whatever they're on, be falling off.
Right.
That'd be funny.
Maybe, like, confusion.
Maybe... I don't even know. What are other emotions?
Grief would be a good one.
Oh, grief. That's true.
Yeah. Well, I relate to the depression thing.
Ooh, and the anxiety part.
Right. High-key.
Well, okay. Moving on from that.
Wait, one last thing.
Okay.
So speaking of puberty,
Uh-huh.
TikTok, TikTok young crowd has finally picked up the terms
Oh my god.
edging and gooning. Do you know what those are?
Okay, so I know what edging is, obviously. And I've heard gooning before, and I have a vague sense of what it is, but I'm gonna be really honest, I have not done my research. I don't really know what it is.
Well, so gooning is basically edging taken to the max, where you are in this, like, troll-like state of mind. You're just going at it all day.
Like, that's just all you think about.
Basically.
Okay.
And y'all that are underage, don't look up what this is.
Or maybe cover your ears right now, too.
Exactly. And you should not be listening to us in the first place.
Fully, girl. Let me tell on you.
Right. But I'm not going to explain what the definitions of. Just go on Urban Dictionary and look it up.
Right.
But anyways, so I've been knew what these meant. I feel like in the queer community, we've been knew what edging is.
Oh, edging, girl, for sure.
Fully. But now it's getting picked up by the mainstream.
Right. And like you said, I've been hearing gooning for about a year now, at least personally for me.
Okay.
And it's always been in gay circles.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just because all the stuff that I look at is just gay.
Right.
So
Is it the chicken or the egg?
Right, exactly. But I feel like the gays have coined this term. And if I'm wrong, then I will accept that I'm wrong.
I first heard it from Trixie Mattel.
Okay.
Because she was talking about it on her show. But now in TikTok comments, random straight boys will be like, "Oh, I'm edging to your video." I'm like, girl.
That doesn't even make sense.
It really doesn't make sense. Also, it's nasty.
Literally disgusting.
Like, I feel like
half them underage too.
literally every new week is some new Gen Alpha lingo that they're trying to pick up on and trying to cling on to.
Literally.
Because Skibbity is already outdated.
Fully. Because
Whistler's outdated.
Because we all know it.
Right, it's been picked up by Gen Z now.
Literally. They're like, the moment Gen Z picks up on slang, they're like, okay, we on to the next one,
Literally. What's gonna be the Gen Z equivalent of cheugy? Zoogie?
Stop. Literally, though.
What are some things you would classify as cheugy, actually? Because I don't really know. Like, I'm not that hip with the...
Okay, like, here's the thing. Gen Z wants to call millennials cheugy, but what Gen Z is not ready for is the moment that they are about to be old, and they are about to be the ones who are getting called cheugy and getting clocked and getting called outdated.
Exactly.
And Gen Z is really not ready for that, girl. Gen Z is really gonna not take that lightly.
Exactly.
Let's be really honest.
Exactly.
They're gonna be aging quite horribly.
I mean, Gen Z's already aging horribly.
Right. Let's just
all
be
the
honest.
vaping.
Let's just be honest.
Literally. I mean, something we've discovered is that, like, editing styles and videos is now cheugy.
100%.
Which is crazy.
Literally. Okay, so, like, if you look at people like Sam Sulek or just other, like, channels that are similar to that, Gen Alpha loves videos, minimal editing.
Yeah.
all this like whooshes and like sound effects and like they're not fucking with it. No. They want the most dry and cut, unfiltered shit. And it makes sense because if you've been watching the internet your whole life and you've grown up with the internet, you're gonna be attuned to knowing what is authentic and what isn't authentic at an early age. Right. And that's what they are. They know how to scope that out.
Millennials love their sound effects and their little woo transitions.
Yeah, girl, no. Like, I love it, but it's too much.
And we're trying to adapt to that now, that scene.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard because at one point you want to also have cross-generational appeal, but also that's too much work sometimes, really.
Yeah. And like Gen Z classifies like some fashion as cheugy too,
like skinny jeans,
right? Or corduroy now, apparently, even though that was in like 2 years ago.
I can't keep up with what the fuck's in and what's not in. I have to be honest.
You know what I feel like is cheugy, even though it's probably not.
What?
Bucket hats.
Oh, for sure. Or do you remember like those clout goggles? Girl, that whole era. Oh, that whole era. Yeah. That whole era. I'm like, you know what I saw today actually?
What?
People were fucking romanticizing 2018. They were like, oh my god, if I could be a teenager wearing these Pinterest clothes on 2018 clothes. And it was literally like the just basic ass outfits that people still wear like today. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it was just Pinterest core, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm like, not 2018 being romanticized. Oh my god,
that was 5 years ago.
I'm triggered. I'm triggered. My brain just stopped working at 2019.
No, 100%.
Like, literally. I'm still stuck in that. Stuck in 2019.
No, they call it the COVID skip or something.
Fully.
Where it's like we got Thanos snapped out of existence.
Girl, that hit Gen Z hard.
Oh, girl.
Literally.
I think I am ready for the case studies. Not case studies, but like the essays, articles about the effects on COVID and our culture as a whole.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's so evident and we're experiencing it real time.
Yeah, COVID really switched everyone to like online. Really.
Because there's such a huge group within these 3-4 years that was coming of age, going through college, going through high school. And it just really has defined internet culture, real life culture as a result.
Yeah.
And
also all the Gen Alphas that were babies.
Exactly.
Then they kind of grew in that COVID time.
Girl.
And now all of a sudden they're like
18-year-olds before COVID, 14.
Wow.
Literally.
That's crazy.
Actual children to now legally adults.
Literally.
Gag.
Literally. Like all these Gen Alpha, like they're entering middle school.
Yeah. Halle's little brother is entering high school.
Are you serious?
Yes, girl. Yes, girl.
I'm gagging.
I know. I remember when he was just about to go into middle school.
Literally. Oh my god, we're old. Well, we all literally graduated from college.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're really old. We're so young, but it feels so old at the same time.
Girl, I had to tell my sister. I had to tell her, girl, you're old now. She's a freshman in college, and she was trying to act like she's all young. I'm like, girl, no.
I mean, she's still up with the internet stuff.
She's still, but you know, I'm trying to acclimate her so she knows that college is gonna go by really quickly, and before you know it, you are going to be old as fuck.
But you know what? Enjoy the fantasy while you can.
Right, enjoy the college while you can.
Exactly,
girl, while you can.
It's quite like mind. What's the word? Like clarifying,
blowing, or like clarifying,
like sanitizing after you get out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just realize so much of what you thought
was important,
what you're listening to was so groupthink.
Oh,
and then you get out of it, and it's like it's a whole new world.
That's so true. Also, like just all the shit that you think is important,
mm-hmm.
you graduate, and it's like, oh, none of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Like now in the real world,
literally.
Which for me, I think that's been a huge blessing, honestly, because now I get to focus and prioritize the shit that I actually care about.
Exactly.
So there's this video that's going viral, and it's of a man proposing to his to-be fiance, I guess.
Okay.
And in the middle of proposing, he breaks out into dance.
Okay.
Let's watch this really quick.
Dancing of everything.
Oh my lord. So for our audio listeners, this guy was proposing to his fiance, and he started twerking on the ground.
Literally, girl, we're calling it twerkposal.
Oh my god.
So, what are your thoughts on twerkposal?
Go bye. we not married. We broken up.
Literally. I don't. Literally.
I'm really sorry, but I'm the type of person, if I want a proposal, first of all, I don't want to be in a public space like
I
that.
agree.
Like that.
I agree.
And then you're going to cause attention by
Twerking? That's so rude. Like, honestly. Like, I don't know.
That's the end right there.
I don't know what the hell was going on in his head.
Right.
And what was she thinking?
Literally.
Like, my to-be husband's on the ground here twerking in front of all these people.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Like, girl, no.
That's the definition of romance?
That marriage not gonna last.
Girl. It is not gonna start.
Literally. But yeah, that tickles my pickle.
I love that for
Whoever these people are.
literally.
Literally.
Best of luck to them. Godspeed.
Right.
So I have a story for you. Do you remember Matt Rife? I was talking about Matt Rife.
Yeah, I know him.
So he was on the top 10 Forbes list.
Was he?
Yes, he was. He made like 20 million or something last year. So one of the quickest come-ups I've ever seen. Yeah. And one of the quickest switch-ups I've ever seen.
Ooh.
The public opinion has turned like that, honey. He is now under fire because he came out with his Netflix special. Mm-hmm. And people are saying his jokes are unfunny. They're saying that he's being offensive. So his opening joke was kind of about domestic violence, essentially. So he says he walks into a bar, and the waiter or the hostess had a black eye, and he said, maybe you should go back in the kitchen so no one has to see you, but if you knew how to cook, maybe you wouldn't even have that black eye. So essentially implying that he got beat because she can't cook and making fun of domestic violence, which is unfunny, first of all.
Yeah, it's not funny.
And to me, I wouldn't immediately think it's offensive just because, I don't know, like, I'm like, oh, that's just an unfunny joke. But obviously people who have experienced that are kind of triggered by it.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's really offensive. And so then he goes on to Instagram and he's like, to those that have been offended by my jokes in the past, I'm sorry, and here's my apology. And he adds a link to his story. And the link goes to special needs helmets.
What?
So it goes to a page where it sells helmets for the special needs. And so
I'm just confused though. Like, is that supposed to be funny?
Well, apparently none of his stuff has been funny.
I've never really thought he was a funny comedian, personally. I know everyone's going to be like, of course you say that now that he's canceled. But for me, no.
Oh,
he was never my type of comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Never.
We can roll back to the tapes when we talked about Matt Rife.
Right.
Like, and he says that, oh, people just listen to my comedy because I'm hot, and it's just so hard out here being hot.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did. Not exactly like that. But
like as a joke, he was being funny, or he was being for real?
He was like, I think it comes from a real place, genuinely. Because he used to not be cute, and then people are saying he got plastic surgery, which he's denying. He's just saying it's puberty.
Ooh.
But even plastic surgeons are like, girl, the jaw's not lining up.
Ooh.
And essentially, he's complaining that people don't actually like his jokes, that they just want to see him because he's hot, and that he has a really large female fan base for that reason. And it's just hard to be a comedian when all they want to do is look at your looks. I'm like, girl, who are you trying to find pity from?
Literally, no one's going to pity you because you're hot. Which, don't worry, girl, because I don't think you are. So don't worry about that part.
Like, he's muscular, and he's white.
Literally, the bar is so low.
And that's all it takes these days.
The bar is so low.
That's all it takes these days.
Fully.
Especially with the gays.
Right. Okay, so here's my question. Yes, his jokes just aren't funny.
Uh-huh.
That's just across the board this is what we've now established. Or at least his special wasn't funny. Other people think his other jokes are funny, whatever. But hypothetically, let's say the jokes were funny.
Uh-huh.
Is there ever like a line that's too far to cross with comedy? Because a lot of people used to say, no, Comedy is allowed to be anything. You can make fun of anything, and there's just no holds on comedy in the name of comedy. And I think kind of over time, that opinion kind of shifted into comedy. You can only make fun of something if it's your own group.
Yeah.
Or if it's something you've experienced. And now it's kind of shifting into you just can't make fun of anything that's bad. Or you can't make fun of anybody.
Right.
As long as it's not as long as it's not something that the general public also hates.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
I come from a more traditional mindset about this, where I think comedy, most things are pretty off limits. It's all in good fun. Like, you're just making fun of things. I think there's humor in every subject. But I truly do believe that cancel culture and Gen Z has kind of ruined comedy, especially for stand-ups. Because now they have to be hyper vigilant about what they're saying.
And a big part of it is also Gen Z just doesn't understand stand-up comedy, I feel. Because it wasn't really a thing that was that big. Stand-up comedy had its heyday in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
With like Comedy Central and like Steve Harvey, the comedy tour, like stuff like that. And so those people really grew up on comedy and they understood it as an art form. Now we don't really understand it, I feel.
Also, y'all have to remember, a comedy special or whatever setting, that is like a fantasy bubble, okay?
Exactly.
You leave real world problems out the door, unless like they're trying to actually get political, which then like
at that point, then you're screwing yourself over.
Exactly. But like let's leave our worries away from comedy. Like, it's supposed to just be for enjoyment purposes, for entertainment purposes. But now every single avenue, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's stand-up, whether it's film, TV, it all is scrutinized now.
Exactly. And then there are some words that you just can't even say.
Exactly.
Even if it's a funny joke. Like, there was... I don't even know if I should say this, actually.
I know what you're going to say.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
About SNL?
Yes! And girl, I was actually laughing. I'm not gonna lie.
So, yeah, I don't really want to say the word, because once we say the word, like, all of the vultures are gonna come.
Let's get past it.
Let's skip that. Anyways, what we're trying to say is that I'm not saying that Gen Z is too sensitive now. Because I do think some of the activism is valid.
We'll continue.
But when it comes to comedy, it is a fantasy.
I agree.
That I think we don't have to be so hyper vigilant about.
For me personally, I always subscribe to the medium ground of don't talk about something that you yourself aren't a part of or you yourself haven't experienced.
That's true.
So for me, I'm gonna make fun of Hispanic people, and like I'm gonna make fun of like depression, I'm gonna make fun of like being gay, because those are things that are a big part of my identity.
But also, okay, finish.
Just like, it's a part of my identity, so I can make jokes about it. But I'm not gonna make a joke, for me personally, I'm not gonna make a joke about like, I don't know, like
Chinese
domestic
people?
abuse or Chinese people or whatever, because that's not something that I am a part of, you know. So that's my opinion, and I think it's a good. But
would you not do that because of current climate, or is that because that's how you actually feel about comedy?
For me, it's because it's how I actually feel. And also a little bit of the current climate, but mainly it's because of, I just feel like I wouldn't really have anything super funny observations to really say. I don't know that community.
That's the other thing. Like, it's easier to write jokes when it comes from your own experience.
Exactly.
However,
and it's funnier that way.
Yeah. However, I think it should not be set in stone that you should only talk about your own experiences. Yeah. I think you can make fun of other people that you don't have personal experience with, as long as it's funny.
Exactly.
As long as the joke actually lands.
That's the key thing. And girl, the jokes weren't even joking with Matt Rife. So
they were really not. And Matt Rife is just the type of person that is better with crowd work than actually writing. I think that's a part of comedy that people forget, that it's writing.
Exactly, it's writing
is the most important part.
Exactly.
And when you're not a good writer, you're not good at stand-up.
Fully, 100%.
So he might be better at improv, honestly.
Yeah. Which I don't understand why his special couldn't include crowd work. Like, just, you don't have to do a stereotypical special like everyone else does. Do a special in a bar.
I'm not sure if there's crowd work in there.
Okay, yeah, me neither. I've never seen
But
it.
it is a stand-up special.
Okay.
So the whole
There probably isn't, though. There probably isn't. Because that's how a lot of the specials are.
Yeah.
It's like a huge arena, and you're on stage, and you're far away from the crowd. They can't even hear you, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, R.I.P. to Matt Rife, I guess. You know what they say, the quicker you rise, the quicker you fall.
But I mean, some people have also said, you've made it when you've gotten canceled, essentially. And like, he's not gonna go anywhere. Like, he's had so much success, but I do think the amount of fans supporting his back is not gonna be as much now.
For sure, and it's not.
But some comedians I think he should learn from, and are also whites, are like John Mulaney. I think he's a great writer and storyteller.
Yeah,
and you can tell because he worked on SNL for years, and that's a skill. Like,
exactly.
Matt Rife would never be on SNL, honey.
Or maybe now he would, well, not even now, but maybe back then he would have been just because of his name.
Right.
But the thing is, you have to put in the work. And a lot of people, I think, get too famous without putting in really the work.
I will say he has technically put in the work. I will give him that because he's been working on stand-up for a while. And it's only within the last year that he blew up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really know him, so I don't know.
Well, now no one's gonna know him, apparently.
Right. Well, R.I.P. to her.
Right.
So do you know who lohanthony is?
Yes, I know who lohanthony is.
Okay, so we've talked about him a little bit before in the pod. But lohanthony, a recent picture of him surfaced with him in military gear.
Uh-huh.
And people said that they got that picture from his mother's Instagram. And so apparently he has joined the army. And for people who don't know who lohanthony is, I'll give you like a really quick summary. Lohanthony was one of the biggest early gay YouTubers at one point.
He was your absolute inspo.
Yes, girl, he was. I saw him when I was like 12.
He was the blueprint. You can never.
Girl, I saw him when I was 12, and I saw him doing the leg twirling video. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this for my school. And It worked, girl. And I literally became popular. But so anyways, so he was one of the biggest early gay YouTubers at one point. He had a ton of opportunities. He was literally in a movie with Timothée Chalamet.
Gag.
And Lily Reinhart before they were even famous.
Gag.
He was literally on top of the YouTube world in 2016, and then he disappeared completely, deleted his whole YouTube channel, and just vanished from the internet.
Right.
And then he came back and started cryptically posting about being a born-again Christian and no longer being gay.
You know what the T is?
What?
He probably went to conversion therapy.
You know, that's what a lot of people are trying to figure out. No
Yeah.
one knows the true reason why this transformation happened. People think that he went to conversion therapy. People think that his parents forced him to like leave LA and stop doing YouTube.
Probably.
There are rumors that his mom was homophobic, that his dad was homophobic. Like, really, no one knows. And it's been silent from like his camp until recently that now he's in the army. And people are saying, well, good luck for you, girl, because she might not do well in the army because the army.
You don't know, she might be masked now. She might be masked for mask now.
Well, the picture wasn't really proving it. I'm sorry. But some were saying that she might get her hole turned out.
Not her hole turned out, oh my lord.
People were thinking that they'd be fucking in the army, apparently. So maybe she want that DL mask trade.
Not that.
Maybe that's why she going.
I saw this Jubilee video recently where it was like a middle ground video where it was current LGBT people and former LGBT
Oh, I watched that one too.
Do you believe that you can change your sexuality?
So that video in particular was kind of really not controversial, but like kind of controversial because
I mean,
they're
all controversial,
right? But this one in particular because it was about Christianity specifically,
right? It got
and
really
it was
religious.
about religion.
It got really religious,
and I kind of knew that it would go that way because all of the people who I know who are ex-gay or converted gays,
of course, because they've seen the light of God.
It's almost always for a religious reason. Like, I don't even really know that many people who were gay at one point and stopped being gay for a non-religious reason.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know if I believe that you can truly stop being gay. Actually, no. Okay. For me,
no.
I don't believe that. For me, I believe that being gay, whether or not it's something that you're born with or something that's socialized, I don't know.
Sure, that's not answered.
Exactly. But I think that it's something, even if it is socialized, something that
can't
once
change
you
it.
have it, you have it, and you can't change it. And what you could change is your like acting on your desires.
And that's what those people were saying. They were saying that I found the light of God, and he's been telling me to not act on my sins, and so that's why I'm converted.
Right. Some of them were saying that. Some of the other ones were saying, I'm just completely straight now.
That, you know what
and
that's
that's
called?
the part where I don't believe it.
You know what that's called? Delusion, honey.
Right. I mean,
they are deluding themselves.
Honestly, it makes me really sad to see someone have so much self-hatred and change who they are just to fit the mold of someone else. And whether or not you want to get religion into it, and whether or not you want to get whether like being gay is allowed in the Bible, people have different opinions on that. Like, I don't want to get into it. But I just will never be able to support... Okay, I support people living in their truth, and I support people being happy. And if that's the decision that makes them truly 100% happy, then you know what? Go for it. But in that video, I was not seeing people who were happy. I was seeing people who lived their entire life...
Clearly repressed.
Repressed, and with so much sadness and self-hate. All the time that they're talking, it's always just like... They center... what they are not wanting to be, and they're putting so much time and effort and thought into what they don't want to be anymore. And it's like, you looked at the other side, it was a lot of gay people who were Christian and who,
but they're so much more free,
and they're so much more free, so much more love in their life, and
you
they
can
just
feel
see
the energy.
You can
from the
feel
video.
that they're happier in life.
100%.
And that's definitely the side that I would lean more towards.
100%. And it's kind of just depends on your definition of the religion that you follow, right?
Exactly.
If your version of Christianity is defined as God doesn't approve of homosexuality, which is very controversial,
right?
Because there have been evidence that is just a poorly translated text in the Bible, etc. So it just really goes back to definition on religion,
right?
But the other thing is, I guess these people, I will never understand because I have never been religious, nor will I ever be.
Yeah.
So these people prioritize their happiness with their relationship with God over their acting on their sexuality. Which, if that fulfills them, you do you, boo.
Right. And for me, I was raised religious. My family is very religious. And I kind of was atheist at one point, and now I guess I'm kind of reassessing my relationship with, like, the universe and God or whatever. Like, I'm
next thing you're gonna be joining lohanthony,
girl. Period. Let me leave the gay lifestyle, girl.
Right.
But I'm kind of like become agnostic now, and I understand where you're coming from, and you want to please your family, you want to please your community, you don't want to be the odd one out, and you don't want to be seen as a deviant in the eyes of your family. But at some point, you really have to just prioritize yourself and your true happiness, and that's what God would want for you. God would not want you to be living in misery. So that's
in Missouri.
Period. But that's my opinion, girl. You know, we got really deep into it, but that's my opinion.
Right. I mean, like, obviously I don't know enough about religion to hash on it, but in my opinion, it's like, if God is supposed to be this all-loving deity, would he really want you to not find happiness?
And clock that, because literally another thing that I noticed from all the other, like, ex-gay people, they focus on God not being loving, but they focus on God being, like, punishing. Very Old Testament God
again, that's what I'm
vibes.
saying. It goes back to the definition of what you believe in.
Exactly.
Religion.
And I'm like, for me, that's not who I believe that God or the universe or whoever is. I don't think the universe is... I think that there is karma, there is checks and balances, and that you can't get away with doing anything.
Boyfriend.
But
Karma
God
is the guy
is
on the Chiefs.
God is love, and God is, like, just happiness. Like, God is not punishing you for every little thing.
Right.
But okay, we can move on.
Anyway, that was our Christian Bible moment.
Right.
Next thing you know, a couple episodes later, we're actually born again Christians. I'm just a born Christian, I guess.
Right. Let me baptize her.
Right. All right. I have a crazy story for you folks. Have you heard of the downfall of OpenAI?
Okay, so I heard a little bit about it, but I don't even know fully what happened.
Girl, so this was crazy. This is one of the biggest pieces of news recently or ever in tech overall. So Sam Altman was one of the founders and CEO of OpenAI. And OpenAI, for y'all that don't know, is like in charge of ChatGPT, and Dolly is like a image generator.
Right.
All it has to do with AI. So up until recently, literally a week ago, OpenAI was untouchable, right? Stocks were so high, everything was looking up. Then out of the blue, this is a 5-day saga and could continue to be going. Out of the blue, Sam Altman, the CEO, gets fired by the rest of the board of directors.
Gag.
Essentially. And people still don't really know why the reason was.
Well, I heard it was because he faked his diploma.
I think it's up in the air right now. It's not super disclosed.
Okay.
So he gets fired essentially out of the blue, and people are gagged, including one of the founding members of OpenAI. And he's like, if Sam is quitting, I'm also quitting.
Ooh.
And then a lot of other high up managing roles are also like, if Sam's leaving, I'm also leaving.
Ooh.
And so then the board is like, okay, gag, let's renegotiate this. And so they have a little bit of renegotiating if Sam should come back. And then ultimately they're like, we're going to give the CEO position to the former CEO of Twitch.
Yeah.
Which is so random.
Literally, girl.
And then Microsoft, who is technically also has OpenAI in their system already, they're like, okay, we're just going to have Sam on our own and he's going to work on the AI for ourselves.
Right.
And so at this point, stocks are plummeting all the way. And so then they do another renegotiating where Sam is apparently hired again, but this time under the stance of if all the other board of directors are gone. And so now officially, after 5 days of serious going back and forth, he's back as the CEO.
Really?
Yes. And the rest of the board that was trying to get him is gone. Girl.
Wait, so he
Game of the Thrones.
He didn't take the Microsoft job?
He didn't. The deal never went completely through. Oh. Yeah, so he's back in OpenAI.
That's a gag. I didn't realize that last part happened.
Right.
I'm gagged.
So he literally got fired, then got rehired, but then fired again and hired by Microsoft. And now he's back as CEO.
And it's just him.
Yeah. And probably with a new board. That's what
or
it's looking like.
Well, you said that he fired the board. So is the board just like, it sounds like it's just him.
It's him. It might be a new board though, is what I'm saying.
Okay. I guess we don't know.
Yeah. It's still kind of ongoing, but
if it's just him, he ate that. He ate that if it's just him.
And it's looking really fishy because, I mean, it clearly seems like the rest of the company of OpenAI really supports Sam, and it's the board. It almost feels like a coup.
Exactly. It was a coup.
Right. They trying to backstab him.
Fully.
Honestly, I don't know the full story.
Yeah.
But
I guess no one knows unless if you're in that circle.
Yeah. This is Game of Thrones for AI.
Literally. That's crazy. I wonder if they ever will be able to recover from that. And I wonder if he's going to regret not taking that Microsoft deal.
Honestly.
If he can turn it around and if he can get OpenAI back on top and get public opinion of it back and get the stocks back and create something revolutionary, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take for him to release something new.
Exactly.
We're done with ChatGPT. We already been saw that. We're done with Dolly. We already been saw that. We need something
Nobody even
new
using
now.
Dolly.
Girl, no. Because we have Stable Diffusion now, girl. We don't even need that.
And Midjourney.
Right. So he needs to create something new so he can put OpenAI back on the map where it belongs and start making that coin.
Exactly.
I feel like for companies in tech, especially companies that are very forward thinking like that and have one guy who's like a visionary in charge of it, I think a lot of times having a board that's too big actually slows the company down. And I think just having like a small group of visionaries who know the industry and know like the actual tech is so much more important.
That's true, but that will also
not
last forever. That will last maybe a good few years for a good period, but then it's got to get refreshed again.
You're right. And every company, even because if he sells OpenAI or if he just grows old or if he can't pump out new ideas anymore, it's going to be turned over to the suits. But
I mean, just take Disney as an example.
Oh, girl.
We switched leadership and he was like in charge of things for this whole time, Bob Iger, and everything is going downhill.
Yeah.
So we need new visionaries.
Yeah.
We need new ideas, and it just can't stay the same.
But I think Disney's not going to ever really get that because Disney is such a top-down organization and so much bureaucracy, so much politics. They can't streamline Disney because it's a whole fucking enterprise.
Literally.
It's not like a startup. Low-key, these startups have much more ability to innovate than these other huge companies.
Literally. Oh, also the other gag is one of the founding members that was on the team of firing Sam.
Mm-hmm.
He literally says, "I regret my participation in the board's action."
Ooh, girl, karma's a bitch.
It's crazy out
Hindsight's
here.
2020.
But now I feel like other tech companies are really happy because now they get to put in their 2 cents in AI.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of military technology. What we see, what the military has, is always 10 years behind what the military actually is working on. And so this AI shit that we have is working so good right now, but the shit that they're actually working on that's probably not going to be released to us until 2030 is going to fucking blow our minds.
Oh, definitely.
So,
I mean, we talked about this time and time, but AI is on an exponential curve right now.
Girl, exponential is like not even big enough of the curve. Like, it's so fucking huge right now.
Yeah.
It's really going to change society quickly. It's scary. And girl, we adapt or die. You have to be ahead of that fucking curve. And if you think AI is not going to affect your industry, think again, honey.
Oh, it's about to clock every industry.
Really?
Every single one.
Literally, think again.
Right. All right, let's move on to our next story about Halle Bailey.
Okay, so you know who Halle Bailey is, right?
Yeah, she's a Little Mermaid.
Yes. So right now, her fans are... She's like having a kind of a spat between her and her fans right now.
Interesting.
Her fans think that she's doing things wrong, and they're being very protective of her, to say the least. They don't like the fact that she is denying her pregnancy. They don't like who she married, the rapper DDG, who they call a bum.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like that she's getting into fights online with like local businesses and putting people on blast. What do you mean?
Why is she getting into fights like that?
Well, so she got into a fight with a local nail salon because her and her sister had booked an appointment, and the nail salon canceled the appointment. And she claimed, or I guess her boyfriend claimed for her online, that it was because she was racist. But come to find out that actually her sister was 30 minutes late for the appointment.
Ooh.
And that's why it was canceled. And so
not Chloe.
And so she kind of posted a thing talking about like, oh, guys, it's not even a big deal. Stop talking about this. But then the actual owner of the salon was like, it's not a big deal. You just ruined my whole business. And now I don't have clients.
Wow.
And she's also pregnant. The woman of the nail salon owner.
Oh, no.
And so, yeah. So right now, fans are like, baby girl, what are you doing to Halle Bailey? They're just not loving her image right now online.
She's not giving the princess image right now.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Fans are protective of her, and they're trying to tell her what to do, essentially. And my question is, has she been infantilized too much? Because if you compare her to her sister, Chloe always had the sexy look, and she always had the princess look.
Exactly.
And, I mean, she's
part
Disney.
of the reason why she was cast by Disney.
Literally, because she has that whole brand.
Exactly.
And her good girl image, I think it's kind of hurting her because that's who you guys thought that she was, but she's showing you the real Halle Bailey of who she really is. And she's, at the end of the day, she's a grown-ass woman. Yeah. She doesn't have to be listening to y'all. Like, y'all not her mother. I know that you guys want the best for her, but you're I mean, are they crossing a line? Trying to suggest to her what to do?
I mean, I get it. Like, they're just trying to be helpful, but when there's so much noise, at the end of the day, she is just one human.
Exactly.
And when all this noise from people that don't know the whole situation, don't even know her as a
Right.
real person,
Exactly. Clock that.
you trying to help is not actually going to help.
It's giving parasocial relationship.
100%.
She kind of reminds me of Whitney Houston, because when Whitney Houston came out, she also had the very princess aesthetic. People thought like she was like a beauty queen, and I mean, she is a beauty queen, but people like thought she was very innocent. Then when she got with Bobby Brown, things started going
Right, she said, I'm not that innocent.
Literally, girl, she started doing coke. She started showing up. I mean, that's who she is.
Right.
And it's giving me very reminiscent, like her and DDG giving me very reminiscent Whitney and Bobby Brown.
And people don't want Halle to change this good girl image.
They don't.
They want her to keep doing this. And if she slips up, you know, the vultures are going to swoop in.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate because it feels like she has to put on... I mean, I don't know her, so maybe she really is like that.
Right.
Maybe she really is like a good girl. And
Well, what she's been doing has kind of been proven not so much.
right. But that's what I'm saying. Everyone is just human.
Exactly.
Like, we
human.
all have bad sides
Exactly.
and good sides.
Exactly.
And so, I don't know. It's just... I feel bad for the local business, though. That's what I feel bad for.
Literally.
Because how is she going to support her child now?
Literally. I mean...
Well...
But so... It's kind of talking in the vein of, like, infantilization. There was something you wanted to bring up?
So there's this trend, quote unquote trend, especially in like Douyin, where these like Asian girls are talking in an extreme baby voice, and they are grown ass women, and it's literally like, I'm 32 years old, but like I'm just a little girl.
Not 32.
Literally.
Like, you old as fuck to be doing that.
And, like, people think that's cute, and, like, that's just the aesthetic to have now. And it's very reminiscent of, like, anime characters, I guess, because that's just what that is giving.
Yeah.
Like, the doll eyes and the high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
But I'm like, guys, in real life, this is just cringy.
It's so cringy. How do you feel about, like, couples who do, like, baby talk? That's the other part of it too.
I get it. Like, you are feeling very what's the word, intimate, and you're feeling vulnerable, and so you have this tendency to like talk like a child with your partner. But when it's excessive and when it's when
you're doing it in public, girl, that's too much. That's
way
really
too
much.
I get it when it's like you're trying to be cutesy or whatever, like moments here and there. But when that's your whole like couple vibe, girl, cringe.
And high key, red flag.
Have you heard of the love surge thing?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. So it reminded me because we were talking about this like whole couple-y vibe thing, but essentially there's this video of this woman being like, my husband right now is feeling a love surge, and the guy's just like,
ew.
He's literally like trembling and shaking.
What?
And then so she's like, so in our relationship, when he's feeling a love surge, I allow him to express his love surge. And so then he like comes up behind her and like hugs her, and then they're like shaking and like vibrating together. I'm
like she grinding on him?
Not like grinding in a sexual way, but it's like a very childlike like shaking, like I want my mommy vibe.
Want to see the cringiest, most cuddly thing ever? This is called a love surge. And we do this when one of us has like so much love in our limbs that we can't contain it and feel like we're going to explode. So Sean is having a love surge right now, and he's going to wrap around me and shake with the electricity of love until I catch it too and start shaking, and then you explode with a love surge.
I feel so much better.
Don't you?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's the love surge.
So much love was just surged.
And it's just like, keep that to yourself. Like, I do not need to see that. It's too much. It's too cringy. Like, if that's what you do in private, please keep it that way.
Literally. I mean, I just feel like posting your relationship online, like as a couple account, I think it's first of all doomed for disaster, and then second of all, it's just it's a little bit too far. People take it too far. Like a lot of these things, keep it in the bedroom, girl. Keep it at your house.
Literally.
We don't need to see it. We don't want to see it, honestly.
We really don't. But it's interesting the people that do want to consume couple content, like they think it's cute.
It must be because they're lonely and they don't have anyone themselves.
There are some content that I have seen from couples that is cute, but it's because they're not really talking about like their relationship. Like they're just existing as two people.
See, and
doing their
that's
thing.
that could be cute. Exactly. Doing your own thing. You're just too. And the other thing is like you need to have an identity outside of your relationship. You can't just
Exactly.
only be your relationship.
Literally.
Because girl, it's gonna fail if you are. I'm so sorry.
And like, please just leave your cringy private stuff at home. Don't give it to us. No one's asking for it.
Right. Listen, okay, we all have texts that we send that if they were released to the public, it would probably be really cringy.
Right.
But that's why it's just between you
I seen
and
it.
your partner. Girl, not you seen it, girl.
So let's clock that tea.
Well, period.
Y'all live the life
Right.
you want to
Like,
live.
y'all do you, boo-boo.
Literally.
And that's the moral of this story.
And that's what we're going to leave y'all on for today. Join us next week while we continue this conversation. And for now, if you guys liked our content, make sure you subscribe.
Right. And you watch the video and give us a like.
And leave us a review.
Right. And leave us a comment.
Share with your friends.
And follow us on TikTok and Instagram.
There you
and
go.
YouTube. So per.
Great. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.